Hey guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Captain Westicle. This is going to be my partner for this video series, Shan Shan. And we're going to be starting a new series of videos called
A Heated Review.
In these videos, we are going to be talking about movies that are the topic of hot debate. So, generally, if a movie is people are ranting and raving about how awesome it is, we're going to tell you that we didn't like it. Or, people tell you that a movie is terrible, we're going to tell you why we liked it. Or somewhere in the middle. So, all of these movies are going to be very controversial, and I'm expecting a lot of hate mail for it. However, if you feel that you need to comment on these videos, I'm probably not going to be commenting back, as that's going to end up taking a whole bunch of my time, because I know how these things go. For people that follow me on Facebook, you know that I generally do not voice my opinion on movies very often, because it just leads to a bunch of hate mail and blah 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 blah, and I'm not really interested in spending a lot of time with that. So, that being said, we're going to be voicing our opinions here, and we're going to leave it at that. If you guys want to debate with each other in the comments, that's fine. Just don't expect a response from me.
Or me.
So, we're going to kick off this series by discussing Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens.
Spoiler alert. We are giving this spoiler alert right now. There will be no more alerts in the future. If you have not seen the movie, you might want to stop watching.
We will try and give the spoiler alert at the beginning of each video in this series, however many there may be. At the time of this shooting, Star Wars Episode 8 is right around the corner. It's going to be out in theaters within a week. So we figured this would be a good time to discuss Episode 7 and some of the things about it that we liked and didn't like. The general consensus of this film, diehard Star Wars fans love it. However, diehard Star Wars fans will love pretty much anything that Hollywood sticks down their throat. We also have the mass amount of people that didn't like this film because there is nothing original about it. All it did was steal ideas from other movies, primarily Star Wars Episode 4. And we'll be discussing that as well. Before we get into too many of the details here, I just want to say that I love this movie.
And so do I.
My wife and I are both big Star Wars nuts. She's kind of new to the Star Wars scene. She actually didn't much care for Star Wars when we first met, and now she loves it. We are not Star Wars encyclopedias. We pay attention to the films, and that's about it. We know a lot of people like to watch the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, and the comic books, and the regular books, and the video games, and all the other gobbledygook that's out there.
We're doing just the movies, from the point of view of just seeing the movies.
Absolutely. So, these reviews are basically just directed for a Joe Blow who likes Star Wars and enjoys seeing the movies when they hit theaters, and that's where it stops. So, that being said, we've got a little list of stuff here that we're going to discuss, so let's get right into it.
One of the big complaints of people who do not like the movie is they say it's exactly like Star Wars Episode 4.
And it is.
But I feel that it is like Star Wars 4 enough to get the Star Wars fans interested and to show that they can do it after their blunder of the prequels, but enough difference to show us that we can go forward from it. So I think that the similarities were really needed, because with making a whole new after the prequel might have been a little bit too much. Now, if they keep up with that with Episode 8,
I'm going to be mad.
I'm going to be mad as well, because then it's just copying. But I think that Star Wars Episode 7, the amount that they copied,
I think they copied it for a reason, because they knew it was a tried and true method, and they wanted something to get the series back on track.
And to prove they could do it.
And they did that. Obviously, Star Wars Episode 7 made a ton of money, as everybody knows, and they stuck with what they knew. They didn't really do anything in this film that hadn't been done before.
The original trilogy was kind of in itself a copy, if you really look at it. There was a lot of copied formula. Maybe not exact copy or whatnot, but this wasn't, in my mind, an exact copy either. They took bits and points from the other movies, just like the original trilogy for the consecutive movies took bits and pieces from the previous movies, did it not?
A little, yeah. And they've set themselves up for, if they decide to go this route, Star Wars Episode 8 could be exactly like Episode 5. However, if they do that,
a lot of people are going to be mad.
Yeah, and it might be the last Star Wars movie I see. So, I guess that remains to be seen. We probably won't be seeing Episode 8 for another month. So, we'll keep you posted. But, yeah, as far as it being exactly like Episode 4, it was. But there's a reason for that. Did it spoil the movie for me? Absolutely not. It's a tried and true method. That story is classic, and it's always going to be classic, and they told it in a way that everybody could enjoy, and I think everybody can agree on that. Let's get into some of the actors at this point, starting with Adam Driver, the main complaint.
Yeah, as Kylo Ren, one of my favorite bad guys. I actually made a costume of Kylo Ren because I loved it so much, but a lot of people had a lot of bad points that they felt about him. They thought he was too whiny, is the most common complaint that I hear. And honestly, I kind of like that he wasn't the pure evil, oh, you don't agree with me, I'm going to choke you kind of bad
guy.
Yes,
the brooding Darth Vader thing.
Yeah, if they just did Darth Vader again, that would be, again, too much of a copy. So they changed the character just enough to be his own. And when I find myself having a little bit of a fit, what am I mostly going to do? Choke somebody or throw something? I'm going to throw a little whiny fit, which is why I like Kylo Ren, because he kind of reminds me of me and a lot of people nowadays.
I don't feel that Kylo Ren was anything like Darth Vader. The only connection they have there...
The helmet?
Well, the helmet maybe a little bit, but it's more of the main bad guy being related to one of our heroes in some way. I was able to avoid all the spoilers when I went and saw Episode 7, and when they blurted that out, I really wasn't that surprised, to be honest. I was kind of expecting there to be some kind of connection, because by the time they'd gotten to that point in the movie, I'm like, okay, they're just kind of copying everything. So I was just kind of expecting something like that to come out. But as far as the actual character of Kylo Ren, completely original, and I thought Adam Driver did an awesome job of
very good
acting in that film.
He's
and I can't wait to see what he does in the next movie. So, let's move on to the next character, Rey, the main complaint.
Rey is like Luke. Rey is on a sand planet, just like Luke.
Jakku, nothing original. It's just Tatooine all over again.
That is kind of true. It was very similar. I mean, what are they doing in one movie to the other? It's similar. She just doesn't have a family, unlike Luke does have a family.
Well, he had an aunt and uncle, and that's it.
Yeah, there was a lot of similarity, but the character themselves...
It's a character who's lost and doesn't know what direction they want to take, and they're not sure what's in store for them, and yada yada yada. There are some similarities there, I will grant you that.
But I feel that Rey was much more of a strong individual character from the beginning than Luke was.
I completely agree. And for the record, Luke couldn't speak any other languages. He could understand the droids, like Rey can, but he couldn't speak the other languages that Rey is speaking on Jakku.
And he could only take care of himself to a point without training, which I thought was also a point. Rey kind of was way better about taking care of herself than Luke was.
Yes, Rey was very, very independent and strong, and she had that
not that Luke
sweet
didn't
fragility
later,
about her, which Luke had a little bit, but I thought that Daisy Ridley kind of drove that home. I loved Daisy Ridley as Rey.
Rey was one of my favorite strong female characters. When everybody's like, oh, it's a movie with a strong female character, I'm like,
which is becoming
it's so
more
forced.
And more prevalent in Hollywood now.
It's so forced. But with Rey, I felt it wasn't forced
Very
for
natural.
once.
Very natural.
Pun not intended.
Okay, next topic. Han being killed. Very touchy subject for me.
Yes, this is going to be a little bit of a more touchier part of the review. Now, like he said, we try to stay away from spoilers.
No, we don't.
We don't openly seek out spoilers.
Okay, that's more fair.
There we go. Now, I am usually on the internet more than him, so I am more prone to seeing spoilers. So I will admit, I did know the Han spoiler, and he did not.
But when Han stepped onto that bridge, you could see it coming a mile away. Again,
Yeah.
they copied Episode 4, where Han is basically playing the role of Obi-Wan Kenobi from Episode 4.
You knew it was going to happen.
Yeah. So the main bad guy has to kill him just like he did in Episode 4.
To make a point.
Yes.
But I felt personally that it was kind of needed to be done for the Kylo Ren character to further along his whole journey. Again, we will see in later movies. Don't know for sure.
Yes, we'll see what happens
But
with that.
I think that that's a very good point, that it could be a point used. If he hadn't killed Han, and it was just oh, we saved Rey and we escaped. Oh, look, all the good guys survived. Woo, happy ending. I don't know
Which
if...
is what made Episode 4 awesome, is that it had the happy Disney ending, even though it wasn't a Disney movie at the time.
Yes, but all of the main characters survived. Sorry, Porkins.
Well, Obi-Wan didn't.
Obi-Wan, okay. Porkins is more important, though, right?
Yes. More important.
Anyways, I just felt it really added to the storyline and kind of needed to be done. Although I admit that even though I didn't know how it was going to be done, I just knew that it was going to be done. I knew as soon as he stepped on that bridge. The dread. It's like, oh god,
Yeah.
here it comes.
I didn't cry, but my heart dropped into my shoes.
I bawled, but I still bawl when Mufasa dies.
I've been sad about
Spoiler.
it ever since. But here's where I disagree with Shan Chan. I thought that killing Han was not the right move. Naturally, I am a little biased. However, Harrison Ford wanted Han killed off at the end of Episode 5, as everybody knows. He felt that the character was flat, that there wasn't any room for further character development or for this character to grow, and that the best way to enhance the story was for him to sacrifice himself. In Episode 7, we actually have some really good character development for Han Solo, and then they kill him off. I wanted to kind of see where that character development was going to go moving into the next film. However, the rumor is Harrison Ford only wanted to do one more Star Wars movie so that he could concentrate on Indiana Jones movies. So,
fingers crossed.
yes, with that being said, there really was no alternative but to have him killed.
Now, my counter to that is that it needed a little bit more character development than the original trilogy to make it more heartfelt with Kylo Ren, but I didn't feel that there was too much character development to make it almost unnecessarily of a killing.
Yeah. One of the things I'd like to see in Episode 8, as Kylo Ren continues to develop as a character, is him wrestling with the fact that he killed Han.
That would be great.
I think that could be very, very interesting.
That would make it even more worth it in my book.
But again, we'll see what happens with that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, moving on, let's talk about Finn.
I think that Finn is an ultimate original character.
I completely agree.
Even though the movie was very much a copy in a lot of senses, Finn is not a copy. We have never had a character like him. He is not an ultimate badass right off the bat.
That's for sure.
Not. And he doesn't know what to do. He's scared. He is unsure in his environment in which he was raised. All different stuff that's all brand new to this. And I really enjoyed that.
A stormtrooper becoming a good guy is an incredibly original idea. We've seen bad guys become good guys before, or good guys become bad guys, with the whole Anakin thing or whatever. But
He's just
a
starting.
piddly little
Yeah.
peon stormtrooper guy
Just
that
starting
nobody
in
cares
his
about.
stuff. You know, first time out, all of a sudden just realizes he can't do this. That's very original. I did not see that coming,
We
and I
also
really liked
saw
it.
the fragility of that character. He is genuinely afraid, and he makes choices based on that fear. And as the movie goes along, he becomes braver and more of a hero,
And a
which is
lot of
great character development.
and a lot of the
Fantastic.
times that he is, what's the word? Because when he does get lucky enough to make a big break, it is obviously luck, not just, oh, it's because it's our good guy. It makes it very obvious that it's luck,
Yeah.
and he even realizes that it's luck, which is really
Finn
nice.
is the guy that the audience can look at and be like, I can be that guy.
Yes.
He's like nobody, and he develops into a big deal.
Yeah. And he's not just a nobody that all of a sudden has all of this talent that nobody knows about.
Yeah.
Which a lot of movies do.
He is probably a little bit more handier than with a lightsaber than he should have been.
That,
but we can overlook that.
Yeah, we can overlook that.
But again, you've got another new character to this movie that's very likable, and a fantastic job by the actor.
Oh, phenomenal.
This
acting.
movie is just riddled with that. They've got new characters and great actors portraying them, and you can't help but like these people and want to follow them.
Next, we want to talk about Phasma, another big topic of people who do not like this movie, and the waste of the character of Phasma.
It was a waste.
It was a waste. This time we will agree with the naysayers. We felt that it was an ultimate character that could really be developed and really be given some time. It's almost another Boba Fett, but even more wasted.
And she looks so cool.
She did look so cool.
That chrome stormtrooper armor. Oh yeah.
And her voice fitted the character so well. Just with her voice, she was such a great actress. I didn't think it was going to be that great. With a fully face-covered person to be able to act that well, but you got to give it to her.
And I believe she only has 90 seconds of screen time.
Which is even less than
If
Boba
I
Fett.
have one pet peeve about this movie, that's it. An incredible waste of that character.
But
and they have a chance to redeem themselves with episode 8, and if they don't,
exactly.
I'm going to be mad. I want to see some Phasma, and I think a lot of people are feeling the same way.
That's another thing, is that we'll put a doc on this movie only if we don't see more Phasma. If they do bring her back and give her justice, hey, no knock on this movie then, I would think. Would you agree? Fair. Alright, next, unanswered questions. There are multiple unanswered questions where they leave kind of a cliffhanger.
And there are some pet peeves with these unanswered questions.
Now, again, this part all has to do with episode 8. If they answer it in episode 8,
or at least episode 9.
Or at least episode 9. At least make it tolerable through episode 8 till episode 9. Then we're going to be okay. But if they just leave it at this, we're going to have some problems.
It was a pet peeve I had about episode 7. They're bringing up all these questions, and it's almost like they're too lazy to answer them. So, we've got 2 more movies where they can redeem themselves here, but I mean, some of this stuff is just
We might as well mention it. Might as well mention it, because it is about this movie.
Yeah. So what do you want to start with?
Well, let's start with Rey beating with the lightsaber with Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
Kylo Ren supposedly
or maybe just Rey becoming fluent with the Force in general quickly.
Over Kylo Ren.
Over a matter of hours.
Mm-hmm.
First she's able to free herself from the shackles with a fantastic scene with Daniel Craig. Love that scene. And then she's able to go toe to toe with Kylo Ren in a lightsaber duel, where
that one is
she
a
was
little bit more
completely at his mercy. Just the day before in the forest. Yeah.
Some people say it's because Kylo Ren was already injured. Don't know if I can completely buy that.
On the other hand, it is called The Force Awakens, and clearly
the Force has awakened with
the
Rey.
Force awoke within her. Yeah.
So really,
but that is the lamest excuse I have ever heard. I want some frickin' answers to that in the next movie, because
she has to have some lineage,
yep,
or some kind of explanation, some magic something they need to come up with to make her better than Kylo Ren, who's been probably, we don't know for sure, but probably doing this for multiple years.
Mm-hmm.
And Rey just all of a sudden, you'll release me. Oh, a lightsaber.
And I'm gonna kick your butt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't buy it. But we're not going to get into fan theories and all that nonsense. We'll wait and see what happens in the next movie. But hopefully we'll get some of these questions answered
Yes.
because
And
didn't really like it that much.
Speaking of lightsaber, where the heck did they get Luke's lightsaber?
Mm-hmm.
That fell down the hole. Okay, these are questions that will be asked at a later time. I believe
Yes.
the line is at least similarly said.
Yes.
Now, I hope that means...
The lamest cop-out ever.
I hope that means that they actually answer our questions later in the later movies, which if they do, then negate this whole argument.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if they don't, this is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
That thing fell down a hole with his hand.
Some janitor could have picked it up, and maybe she bought it at an auction somewhere, or found it in a junkyard.
They did kind of cover it, I believe, on Family Guy, Star Wars.
Yes, there should have been a hand there.
Wasn't there a hand with this?
Yeah.
If you've seen Family Guy, you'll be laughing.
Yeah. We'll see, but again, kind of annoying. And another thing that bothered me was the whole Han Chewie bowcaster thing.
Yes, totally.
A lot of fans loved that, but that
It was a great line. It was a great line. It made me chuckle, but when I thought about it, that's when I started thinking, wait a minute. Han has been with Chewie how long, and he's
at
never
that point
tried
they've
his
probably
bowcaster?
been together for like 50 years or something like that, and he's never once fiddled with Chewie's bowcaster.
But Chewie might have just gotten this bowcaster. This might be a new weapon that Chewie just got.
Maybe it's a new upgraded bowcaster from the one he had in the previous films.
Maybe, I don't know. That
Again,
could possibly be.
Lame excuse.
Again, yes.
That was, in my opinion, that was poor writing and just something designed to entertain the fans.
It was a very entertaining at the moment line, which did make me chuckle, which is what they were going after.
Indeed.
But when you look deeper into it, there's some questions there.
Mm-hmm.
But still, it was a funny line.
That's a small pet peeve that I have.
Because it was still a funny line.
And no matter how you slice it, there are going to be pet peeves about this film, even for the people that liked it, which
we're trying to say, yeah.
However, we would like to voice our concerns moving into episode 8. No.
Well, let's get on with the...
More pet peeves. I'm going to go with the Leia hugging Rey instead of Chewie after the death of Han.
Yeah, that one did get me. I was kind of confused in the theater, going, what's going on? Why is Leia hugging a pretty much stranger when she's known Chewie for years and years and years?
At that point, she'd known Rey for like a day, and they'd hung out for an hour, maybe 2 hours.
And as much as I love this movie, I'm going to have some problems, and that was one of them for me.
Yeah. That didn't bother me quite so much. She didn't give Chewie the medal. Why should she give him a hug?
It's a good point. Chewie never gets the love.
Yeah, no love for Chewie.
No love for Chewie.
Josh, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. I love you. I love you, man. So let's talk about one more new character, Poe Dameron.
Now, Poe, in my eyes, is kind of a copy more than the other original characters, because there's a lot of completely new characters in this movie, and Poe is one of the few that I felt was kind of a copy. They wanted a Han Solo-ish type character, and since they no longer had the young Han Solo, they put Poe in there to kind of wedge his way into there.
I see what you did there, because he's not really a copy of Han. They saved that for Cassian in Rogue One, which we'll discuss later.
That's a different time.
But Poe is more of a copy of Wedge, in my opinion, the hotshot pilot. And I hear that the original story, they were talking about killing him off, and they decided against it.
Which is the confusing, his ship blowing up and Finn getting the coat, and doesn't he see Poe's body being crawled away as he still survives?
And if Poe was flung free from the wreckage, how the heck did he live, and how did he fall out of his jacket?
Yeah, exactly.
Again, a pet peeve.
But
so we can see where the naysayers are coming from when it comes to this film.
But I actually do like Poe. I do like him with the story, and I do like his relationship with Finn. So even if he is a copy of Wedge, or Han, or whoever you think, that he's a copy of.
He's just a pretty boy for the ladies.
He is. I disagree. I think he's a very good. What's the
He's
word?
Paul Walker's character from The Fast and the Furious.
He's the counter character to Finn, is what I was gonna say.
Okay.
For Finn to meet, to give him that nudge without making him awesome all of a sudden. He's just that little nudge that Finn needs. And I kind of thought that it was needed because it gave Finn that courage that he needed in the beginning. So he kind of needed that kind of character, I think.
I'll agree with that.
So he might be
that's a sound argument.
He might be a copy, but it was needed for the original Finn character.